And I'm sure most of our sellers on the call today are in the process or already brand owners and registered on Amazon Brand Registry. So there are many advantages to doing that and getting yourself on Amazon Brand Registry. And I'll take you through some of the essentially key points of building your brand on Amazon and why it's important. And if we have any questions, feel free to input into the chat box into this call, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. In the meantime, I'll turn off my camera, but I'm definitely still here and live, sitting in the same room with Jin Liang. So yes, like see you guys a little bit later. Give me a second. So I'll just turn myself off for a while, and we'll get started. So today, essentially, I'll take you through kind of the fundamentals of building brand awareness, but actually it's an intermediate level course. And essentially, we will cover kind of the key elements of what it means to build a brand on Amazon. So I think the very, very first thing for us to understand is that in order to use a lot of the brand building tools on Amazon as well as Amazon Ads, you will have to be registered in Amazon Brand Registry. And Jin Liang has done many webinars on how to get yourself set up as a brand owner. So feel free to scan the QR code behind him to learn more and to replay anything. And essentially, the goal here is for you to kind of essentially understand what is the next step of building your brand with sponsored ads as well as free brand tools. Getting back, essentially the goal of Amazon Ads as well as building your brand is to actually build your brand name towards essentially our customers all over the world. And essentially we encourage our sellers to essentially register on Amazon Brand Registry because it offers you multiple advantages, not just in terms of extended use of Amazon Ads. So you are able to use sponsored brands, sponsored display. You will also be able to essentially other kind of free brand tools and also take advantage of any kind of legal protection for your product as well as your brand. And this will be very helpful for you, during all timings of the year. For example, if your listing gets hijacked, essentially you are able to report hijackers, for example, and this gives you access to that. So highly recommend our sellers to look at previous webinars for Amazon Brand Registry. And essentially, this quickly summarizes, how essentially Amazon Brand Registry helps you. The goal here is to help you protect your IP, your brand name, your product, the assets that you upload onto your listings, and this gives you a lot more control over your Amazon product pages. And as I mentioned, it gives you additional proactive like protections that you can identify and remove like potentially bad listings, hijackers on your listings. And it gives you, a easier process of finding cases of infringement via our help system. And it gives you access essentially to A+ content, premium A+ content. Once your business grows a bit bigger, it gives you access to sponsored brands, building a free brand store on Amazon. It gives you access to Amazon Brand Analytics on Seller Central, where you're able to find out, for example, additional keywords. You're able to find demographic information about your customers, their repurchase behavior, many things. And also it gives you access to Vine. So if you're getting started, you haven't been able to get any kind of ratings or reviews, the Vine program actually helps with that. So very helpful to get started, and a global team will be available 24/7 to help you. So these are some of the quick perks of Amazon Brand Registry if you haven't already done it. Yeah, so highly recommend our sellers to adopt that. And then let's just jump straight into building awareness. So what it means in awareness, and you'll notice that across like a lot of the ads webinars, I'll be talking about the marketing funnel and building awareness. So essentially, coming on Amazon, we've done many internal surveys, and 74% coming on Amazon are looking to browse new brands. So it's actually a great, oh, how come I got? Yeah, so essentially it's a great chance for you essentially to browse on Amazon and reach customers that are browsing on Amazon. They might be scanning through deals, they might be researching for the items that they're looking to discover. So essentially, this is the huge kind of funnel that we're looking at. Whenever we talk about Amazon advertising, there is awareness, consideration, and conversion. And you'll notice that even in your Amazon Ads console, right, oftentimes awareness, the KPI to look at is impressions. So essentially, if you notice that, for example, your impressions are low, it could mean that you're actually not building enough brand awareness, and people are not aware of your brand. And subsequently, you want to expand this first before a certain percentage of these customers are going to buy and consider your product. They might be doing research. So for example, if I'm a new home owner, I'm looking for kitchen utensils, I'm buying for my new home, I'll do my product research first. I'll look at different brands, different products, and I'll take a while before I consider to maybe my top 3 brands, right? In terms of the features, in terms of the price, and essentially, you can also start to build brand consideration targeting these people before finally they decide to convert. And I'm going to buy this one single kitchen pot for my home. So essentially, it's a marketing funnel, and often it's a trickle down effect, right? So if you blast your brand name to 100,000 people, not all 100,000 people are going to definitely buy your brand. It's what we call a marketing funnel. They trickle down. Only maybe like 40% will consider your brand because your brand's values, price, ratings, and reviews align with what they want. And then finally, maybe the next 7% will convert and buy your product just this month. So this is how the marketing funnel roughly works, and a simple explanation of what is a brand awareness funnel or brand marketing funnel. Yeah. So why is it essentially important for you to build brand awareness? It's simply because you will notice that people will actually choose to buy brands that are familiar to them. So for example, if you're a new brand starting out, it's important for you to build top of mind brand awareness and essentially brand familiarity. So for example, if I'm looking for a kitchen pot, what are some of the top few brands that pop into your mind straight away? You will notice that, of course, people will start to first think about familiar brands. However, there could be potential unfamiliar brands that offer better features, better price, better bundle deals, right? And they might be swayed to switch over to a different brand. And that's where your opportunity as a seller comes in. But it's important to make sure that your brand is put in front of the customers that are browsing already. So it's important for you to ensure that you are appearing to your potential customers. That's why we recommend, for example, some ad products like sponsored display, sponsored brands, essentially for them to start building recognition, building a bit of memory around your brand name, and eventually they start buying into you. So the opportunity here is then again, as I summarized, to make your new shoppers aware of your brand. And there are many things we can do to actually engage with shoppers who might not be super familiar with your brand for now. And then of course, you also want to ensure that your existing shoppers are aware of your full range of products, right? Maybe they could have seen your product before, but they've never bought your products before. It's also an opportunity for you to re-engage them, or essentially to remarket to them your products, or maybe you have a new launch product lined up. You might want to re-engage your existing customers and get them to maybe upsell, pay a little bit more for a premium option or for your new product launch. So this is the opportunity for using brand building solutions. So how to do that? Essentially, there are a few different kind of goals that you can hit with some of the Amazon ad solutions, as well as free brand tools that we have for both of this. So number one is definitely to drive product discovery. So essentially, if you are launching a new product, or if you're a new seller, it's definitely going to help you reach relevant audiences that are browsing, and just help to increase the awareness and discovery of a product selection. Your second goal could be also, if you're an existing seller, you really should try to differentiate your brand, right? So in the sea of kitchen pots in the market, how does yours stand out? And how can you convince people to switch away from a very established market brand towards your brand? There are different solutions for you to creatively do this. So you want to share a compelling brand story, right? I'm sure quite a few of our sellers, you have very competitive prices, but we know that playing the price game is also very painful. So the second kind of way and strategy is to differentiate via your brand storytelling. So that's the second goal objective. And number three, you can actually explore some of our campaigns that we've launched previously and discover how some of the other sponsored ad solutions can help you bring brand awareness for your brand and products on Amazon. So ideally here, you will want to see that most of our new sellers, they tend to start with sponsored products as the first step, which is fair, and it's a very important tool. It's the fundamentals of advertising on Amazon. But you will often hear me say that sponsored products is very much a conversion tool, which is very down on the bottom funnel. It's very important to help you lock sales. If you're running deals, you're running discounts, then of course sponsored products is an amazing tool. However, if you want to build your brand and your long-term goal is essentially to ensure that people start to understand that your brand is a household brand for the future, which many successful Singaporean brands, as an example, have done successfully, right? Just an example of some of our brand ambassadors, Kia Babies, or essentially Naoki Matcha, for example, they've become household brands, or they become #1 bestsellers on Amazon.com, and that is a long-term play into brand building. So we have other solutions. So if you see here, Jack and Jill, that is a sponsored brand solution where essentially you're putting your logo, your brand name at the forefront, at top of search, and you can showcase your product selection to your customers. On the right, you will see Amazon.com followed by a gray bottle. That placement is a sponsored display solution, which appears both on Amazon as well as off Amazon. So sponsored display is a very awareness kind of a brand tool. Essentially, it's almost like a display solution where you display in as many different locations on and off Amazon to build a recognition of your brand name. So you can create a holistic strategy for yourself, for your brand, basically to reach the customers at multiple different touch points when they're researching for buying a product. So these are some of the proof points, from some of the bigger brands within Amazon. So let's take a look. Apart from paid solutions, I will start with kind of essentially the free brand tools first that are available for you to adopt already today. If you haven't already, adopted some of these solutions. So definitely the most simple, straightforward brand building tool we can immediately start using right now will be to create a brand store. So if you haven't already, it's free for brand owners or people registered on Amazon Brand Registry. And essentially what you want to do is to create a brand store. It gives you opportunity, basically to tell your brand story. Some of the best, kind of tips summarized here is, to create a very strong header, strong creatives. What you want to do as the next best steps will be to group products together on subpages so that people easily can look at your product selection and the categories that you offer for your brands. And then of course the next best practice is to use images with textiles. This is all easily buildable on the store builder on the Amazon Ads console. And the next kind of development within stores is that also right now Amazon has already started piloting essentially AI generated images available within the Amazon Ads console. So if you haven't been able to develop creative images, that is a very quick and easy way for you to create high quality creative assets using our AI generator on Amazon, and now it's extendable towards stores as well in beta. So that is something that our sellers can try. However, of course, the best recommendation, right, is to develop a creative, a toolkit of yourself to talk about your brand. Yeah. So the next following are just simply best practices that we recommend to our sellers, right? Of course, we always recommend sellers to build a very strong store, to definitely use video tiles within your Amazon store, and then of course to use product tiles. So I think some of the sellers, if you've heard me in previous webinars or in our offline events, I often repeat that stores are actually the only place on Amazon where there are no external advertisers. So one great opportunity shared by a very famous seller trainer called Jason T is that one strategy you can use for your store is to use it like a product catalog. So essentially, you can actually choose to list all of your products on your store and display it almost like a catalog, and essentially drive people to explore your store, drive traffic onto your store, so that they can see your full range of a product catalog. So that is one strategy that many sellers have also used for the store. The next free brand tool is definitely Amazon Posts. So it's a free brand tool again. It looks almost similar to Instagram, but it's housed within the Amazon app. So the good thing about this is that, especially in the overseas marketplaces, that Amazon is like the leading destination to buy like most of the products, right? And people spend a lot of time on the app, and they also scroll within the app to discover new products, new brands, in terms of browsing and making any kind of impulse purchase or planned shopping purchase. And Post is a very great way to immediately get them to shop your product, but using very beautiful lifestyle images that you've already prepared. For most of our sellers, if you have already started to create Instagram posts for your own brand, IG posts, TikTok videos, etc., why not just simply copy and paste or use the same image and upload it onto Post? You can directly link the product that you're selling to the lifestyle image that you uploaded, and essentially it is a free brand tool to drive traffic to your products. So if you haven't done this already, you can try this for your posts. Post right now is actually available to most of our SEA markets, our Singapore, total Southeast Asia sellers. So please try this. They link to product detail pages. So please try your post today if you haven't, and you will not be charged anything for using posts. Yeah. So some of the quick tips for using posts is, of course, to create relevant content that is relevant to your category and audiences. The interesting thing here is that in the case previously, right, you might expect, for example, if I'm a baby brand, I would expect my audiences to be, I would expect my audiences to be maybe moms. However, that might not 100% be the case. So we can actually use Amazon Brand Analytics to take a look at some of the demographics of people that are shopping maybe our baby products, for example. And you can create relevant content for that. So you might be surprised, possibly maybe a dad could be buying baby products as well. So you might want to create content, for example, featuring a father rather than a mother, for example, for your baby product. So this is something that we can try for posts, and you can A/B test. Sorry, 2 minutes. Oh, okay. We can start again. Okay, sorry. Just a little bit of a cough. Yeah, and the second best practice for posts is definitely for you to post frequently. So a quick tip and internal research on Amazon has shown that if you post up to 3 to 5 times a week, you get up to 200% increase in potential sales. So we highly recommend our sellers to post frequently, and now it's very simple to do with AI, using AI generated images, which is available for you for free on Amazon. And I highly recommend sellers to post frequently. Second, our quick tips then will also be to avoid images that are very, very text heavy, or if they have a white background. So essentially, the best practice here is to actually create rich lifestyle content rather than simply uploading product images on posts. And the last tip for using posts is also to analyze the type of ASINs that perform the best. So we have quite a few sellers that are selling maybe 10, 15, a few hundred different products, right? It's best to A/B test your hero products and analyze the type of ASINs that are performing the best for you, and you might want to drive traffic towards those ASINs first for your posts. Yeah. And then the second kind of strategy for you to drive increased awareness for your products. So I've been consulting with a few different top sellers, and I've often met quite a few new sellers. And essentially, quite a few of my new sellers, after a certain stage, you'll see that they start to stagnate, right? Or if you notice certain KPIs like impressions, if you notice that your impressions are maybe, just 1 to 2,000, maybe 10,000, it's okay. But however, if you want to grow bigger, further, better, you want to drive more business growth and drive more orders, for many new sellers, your KPI should be to increase your impressions as much as you possibly can, in order to drive as big of awareness as possible. And then, as a marketing funnel, it will trickle down towards conversion as well as to orders. So essentially, some of the tools to help you drive brand awareness. Number one would be sponsored brands. So essentially, sponsored brands is very much geared towards capturing traffic on top of the search results page. And that is the number one biggest source of traffic on Amazon.com, right? Most people go onto Amazon, they search for, okay, body soap. Sorry. They will search for body soap. And essentially, primary on Amazon, the biggest traffic source will be your search results page. And right at the top of the search results page is always going to be a sponsored brands placement. So I highly recommend sellers, once you have been comfortable running sponsored products, I highly recommend you to set aside additional budget for you to grow awareness and to try sponsored brands. Sorry. So within sponsored brands, we have 3 different formats. Number one, it will be product collection. So essentially, product collection is very simple and very straightforward. However, now the mandatory from Amazon is that you must have a custom image accompanying this format. So even if you don't have any images right now, you can use AI to create it. Otherwise, it's best to upload a lifestyle image together with sponsored brands. Here you can choose any different kind of products, right? Essentially to call and drive traffic to. So the best recommendation for me, for our sellers here, is definitely select your hero ASIN. That means your best selling ASIN. Then subsequently, the remaining other 2 tiles, if you see on the format here, you can select either maybe you want to clear inventory for your product. The other option is then if you have a new product launch, this is also another way for you to gain a lot of incremental traffic for your new product launch. Just remind yourself that custom images are now mandatory. And then subsequently, you can also select a landing page. So you can actually choose to drive traffic to your store, which is amazing because store has no other advertisers, and you can immediately send people towards your product catalog or your video that you want them to watch. Or you can even, of course, choose a different landing page, which usually will be your product detail page, right? The products that you're selling. So this is best practice for product collection. I think very straightforward. Second format for sponsored brands will be Store Spotlight. So they're very similar to each other actually, but Store Spotlight is different in the sense that for product collection, you're calling out 3 individual products that you're selling. But for Store Spotlight, you're actually calling out the category of products that you're selling. So maybe you might be an electronics seller, for example, and you might be selling, for example, hair dryer. You might be selling a shaver, and then you might be selling, some kind of other like iron, for example, right? So you can call out the different categories, the full category that you have on your product portfolio. So this is a bit more generic, I would say, versus product collection. And over here, the goal is essentially for you to drive traffic mainly towards your store. So the requirement for Store Spotlight is that you must have a minimum of 3 sub pages set up on your store to be eligible, with at least 1 product on each sub page. So this is the best practice. And last but not least, it will be sponsored brands video. So the interesting thing about sponsored brands video is that it doesn't appear on top of search. It appears on middle of search results page. So you'll notice that maybe after the top placement, which would be product collection, store spotlight, and then you scroll maybe 2 rows, it will be the video right in the middle of the search result page. And again, it's very interactive. You'll notice that for sponsored products, you're only occupying one small little individual product, right? But for video, it takes up the entire bar or the entire shelf, virtual shelf on the search results page, and it interrupts and it auto plays, so it really breaks the scrolling kind of momentum from people. So video is an alternative option. So if you're already developing videos for your social channels, your TikTok channels, whatever, you can try it for Amazon sponsored brands video. Now for sponsored brand video, if you aren't aware already, it's also optimized for vertical videos now to suit the browsing behavior of customers recently. So if you are already playing around with TikTok videos, Amazon can also take on vertical videos for this. So essentially, for sponsored brand video, usually we will be directing traffic towards an individual product that you are calling out. So this is definitely one way for us to drive traffic. Another quick tip here is that definitely you want to keep your targeting as broad as possible in the initial phase of using sponsored brands, to help you build awareness among a wider audience. So of course, number one, we can share some of our tactics for our sellers. So how to set up very much your first campaign, right? It will be essentially doing a sponsored brand store spotlight. So you'll use a keyword targeting campaign. For sponsored brands, it's keyword targeting in a separate campaign, and you want to choose keywords related to the products on your sub pages. And which keywords to use? Definitely use your hero keyword ASIN. If you've never done a sponsored brands campaign, highly recommend that we start with sponsored products first. And for sponsored products, you want to build a hero keyword list, right? A keyword list that gives you high impression, high clicks, and high orders. And you can use that same hero keyword list for your sponsored brands. So that's the best practice and recommendation. So in this example here, right, for this digital camera, this will how a sponsored brand store spotlight will look like. You can put, for example, all cameras, wide lens, and your latest release, right? So people can click either into your product category, or they can click directly into your overall store via this format. So if your goal is definitely to drive awareness, right, for people to know your brand name, for example, in this case, for people to know Iris as a digital camera brand, we recommend choosing broad match essentially at the start to give yourself wider exposure, wider impressions, and basically help you gain insights into how customers are finding your products, what keywords are best for you before you optimize. So this will be essentially the first tactic for you to grow awareness, grow impressions. The second kind of tactic we can possibly recommend, it would be to use sponsored brands video. So essentially, for sponsored brands video, most likely it's going to be driving one particular product. That's our best practice, of course, unless you're very, very established and you want to talk about your brand purpose. I think for most sellers, I would recommend sponsored brands video to be much more product-led and focusing on one single product or your hero product that you're selling. It has to be between 6 to 45-second video. However, the best practice internally is definitely to ensure that your logo is always visible and your product appears within the first 3 seconds of the video, because people have very, very short attention span now. We highly recommend your videos to be mobile and desktop friendly. And of course, to explore both keyword and product targeting. So here, it will definitely drive traffic towards that particular product detail page. And I highly recommend, again, for our sellers, right, to optimize the video for no sound. So of course, it can have music, it can have a voiceover, but the other best practice is that most people watch videos without the sound on. So if you want to call out a particular feature, right, like for example, this frying pan is non-stick, we highly recommend, for example, for captions to appear or supers to appear in the video saying non-stick frying pan, for example, to ensure that it's optimized for sound off. And again, for sponsored brands video, it's a cost per click structure. So you are only charged when someone clicks onto your ad. Yeah. So essentially, let me see. Oh, yeah. So essentially, for second tactic here, here it will also this is the other alternative for sponsored brand video that I recommend possibly to more existing sellers. Of course, it gives you opportunity to focus your video with a bit more emotional connection. Again, as I mentioned, play around with Amazon brand analytics to understand your customer demographic, and you can also incorporate them into your video. So a best example from our Prime Day workshop was that there was a top seller selling helmets. And previously, the founder always assumed that people buying bicycle helmets were men. For some reason. However, when they took a look at Amazon brand analytics, they noticed that the shopper demographic, a solid 40 to 50% were actually female users. So the recommendation then was from the account manager was for him to change his creatives or included more in creatives featuring women wearing the helmets, right? And then to target, of course, women as well. So of course, please take a look at Amazon brand analytics to kind of understand who are your different customer profiles and build your video creative based on that. Yeah. So here are some of the top practices, showcase your quick product demonstration on features, highlight your product for 80% of the video, and brand for 20%. But of course, ensure that your logo appears throughout the whole video. Show your product in the first 3 to 2 seconds. And again, to close out the video, have your logo appear at the front, at the end, and of course, if possible, throughout the entire video. So this is the best practices for building awareness with sponsored brands video. And then last but not least, of course, the very simple application of sponsored brands is product collection. So now product collection is mandatory for you to put custom images. The example is this chocolate brand. Now Amazon also understands if it's troublesome for you to film a video, you can upload to up to 5 custom images. So it's almost like a product carousel. And you can actually engage in different ways and talk about your brand story via the 5 different custom images that you can upload, right? So we highly recommend our sellers to develop your own brand, color palette, your brand imagery, your brand font, etc., and align that with your brand store to ensure your branding is consistent throughout all your different ad campaigns. And last but not least, apart from sponsored brands, we have sponsored display. So you'll notice that display, it will appear on the Amazon homepage. It will appear on the left-hand side of search results page, as well as around the product detail page. But more importantly, it can also appear off Amazon. So it can appear on sites like BuzzFeed or Pinterest. So that's the other way for you to drive impressions. So with this sponsored display, there are a few different targeting methods. We have done a previous webinar on introduction to sponsored brands and sponsored display, so you can check out our YouTube channel for that. But one great way for you to target very broad for awareness, it will be using an audiences campaign. So Amazon audiences are pre-built audience profiles on Amazon. So it's very interesting. You can actually see very interesting customer profiles. For example, you can directly target a group of people called young homeowners on Amazon audiences. Just as an example, you can target females aged 18 to 25 or 18 to 59. Like if you want to target like a huge group of people, there are different pre-built audiences based on lifestyle, based on demographics, based on age, based on different kind of profiling, very similar to Meta or Facebook advertising. So this is something that you can try using the Amazon sponsored display, Amazon audiences. Here summarizing, there are 3 different kind of profiles. There are lifestyle audiences, for example, gamers, for example, people that are interested like sports or very much foodies. Second one is interest-based, based on different products and categories that they frequently browse. And last but not least, there's live event, right? So essentially like upcoming travelers, or as I mentioned, homeowners, for example. Yeah, so that's how you essentially measure, and you can measure brand awareness with brand metrics. Essentially, in the next webinar that we're having in August, I will be covering brand metrics in detail. But essentially, it's also a free brand tool on Amazon, essentially for ads. in terms of breaking down what are the profile and what is the number of people that you're reaching in terms of the different areas of the funnel. So within Amazon awareness, consideration, and conversion, you are ranking at which percentile in the universe of competitors within your category. So you can actually take a look at, how many shoppers you're actually reaching. And secondly, you can take a look at how many customers are actually giving you return on engagement in the last 12 months. So this is brand metrics, and we can take a look at this in the next month. But essentially, it gives you a sense of how you are performing at the different stage of the funnel, whether or not you are underperforming. So in terms of percentile, the higher the better. And if you are at a very low percentile, you might want to work on, for example, if you have a very low percentile on awareness, it means that you have more opportunity to increase awareness of your brand. So this is something we will touch on at a later stage. But essentially, for Amazon brand metrics, it gives you awareness percentile, detail page view, engaged shopper rate, shoppers, and return on engagement. So you can actually see all these interesting different metrics, right? How many people have actually viewed your product detail page? How many people have you actually engaged, right? Whether they have added to cart, whether they have purchased, whether they have viewed you. What is the total number of shoppers in the category? And whether or not you have a high return on engagement, meaning in the next 12 months, whether or not there is a high possibility someone might buy your products. So you can find all these interesting kind of metrics on Amazon for free for you. Yeah. So how to plan an awareness strategy, right? Essentially, how to build your brand. Definitely, the first one is to set up your foundation, which is to create a store and then to use posts. Then, of course, to try 4 different tactics, depending on your budget, right? So number 1 is definitely to do store spotlight, one with product targeting and one with keyword targeting. If I had to choose, I would choose keyword targeting for sponsored brands. And then number 2, it will be for you to try sponsored brands video campaign. So video campaign is very underutilized for now. So, you might want to try and experiment searching with, your hero keywords now to see how people do sponsored brands video. And essentially, this will help you showcase a specific product you want audiences to be aware of. And then number 3, you can consider setting up a sponsored brands product collection using your custom images. But I would say number 1 and number 3 are interchangeable. You can feel free to choose either one of these tactics to increase your awareness. And then, of course, last but not least, if you have budget, I will also recommend sellers to set up sponsored brand display campaign using audiences to increase the number of impressions that you have towards your brand.
All right. Okay, so I just want to share some resources first while we let Pretty have a short rest first, and then to read through the questions on the Q&A chat. Right, some useful information that you might want to take away today, as well as we have some. Oh, sorry, let me just go back again. We have some one pager that is developed by the Seller University team as well. Some guides, if you want to keep it handy, you can download it as well. All right. And then the next thing is to share, like what Pretty mentioned, this is the last ads webinar in this month. Right, so tomorrow I have one final webinar. This might be more relevant to newer sellers. So if you are actually new, meaning that you just started out, you might want to join that webinar regarding on what you can do in your first 90 days, right, to ensure you utilize all the right program features to get the most out of your first 90 days. Right, the other one is what also again, as you mentioned, that on the 22nd of August next month, right, she will be touching more on the brand metrics, right? So that is on Tuesday, 22nd August next month. So do remember to sign up. The link is up in the website as well as the QR code. Right now, the big news I want to share is that I'm not sure if any one of you know already. We do have the biggest event for the year coming up, the summit. All right, so this year round, the Southern Seller Fest 2024 is in collaboration with Amazon Global Selling. All right, so before the physical events coming up, there is a series of what we would like to call it a pre-summit webinar series. So do not miss your opportunity. So these are the different webinars that we invited the separate, or what I call, experts in their domain to actually come and share. So you can see this is the first one that's happening tomorrow. I will share the QR code, so do remember to sign up. Or it's happening tomorrow. We have the invited speaker, Amy Wee, as well as Yulia. So I'm not sure if any of you attended my past webinar. Yulia was actually in one of our sourcing webinar as well in the past. So now she's on to this Southern Seller Fairs pre-submit webinar series as well. All right. So this is the, again, pre-submit webinar, meaning that it's leading up to the actual summit that is happening on November 19 to 20. All right. So this is the link for you to sign up. Right, you can sign up for the pre-webinar series as well as on the website of the Southern Seller Fairs website. Right, there will be available links for you to buy your tickets. Right, so the webinar is free. However, if you want to attend the summit in person itself, there are some fees which you can check out on the website. Okay, so now coming back to the Q&A. Okay.